Time now to delve into the Sunday papers, see how they're covering the coronation this morning. Here with me to look at them are Ian Lloyd, a royal biographer and author of The Throne, 1000 Years of British Coronations, and journalist Afia Hagan. So welcome back to both of you. We dealt with all the front pages, dominated, as you would imagine, by yesterday's big event, of course. But let's take a look further in, shall we? Ian, you picked out a double-page spread to kick us off, and this is this extraordinary photograph. I certainly have never seen a photo from a previous coronation. There's probably not very many that were photographed, but I haven't seen anything quite like this. What do you make of it?
Well, it's fascinating because it shows the King and Queen and the people together. So it's taken by Chris Jackson from inside the palace, as you said. The one unknown factor about the coronation, well, any big thing, a jubilee or a royal funeral or wedding, is the people, because you don't know who's going to turn up. I mean, I expected fewer, and I also expected that there may be demonstrators down here with, you know, that we don't want this king or whatever it is.
Not our king,
not our king. But I was with the crowd down there. I moved down the Mall, and it was universally euphoric.
And in the rain?
Yeah, well, yeah, the only chant I heard was, put your brollies down, put your brollies down, because the people at the front had their umbrellas. So, once that was sorted out, then it was fine, and there was lots of cheering, spontaneous 3 cheers. And, you know, one unusual thing, I've covered about 20 of these big occasions, is I've never seen the monarch go in and then come out, and that's what Charles did. They all went in, they came out en masse, and then he came out finally with just Camilla.
With a bit of an encore.
Yeah.
Sort of an encore. And I think that was because he was incredibly moved by it. I mean, I was near enough with a big lens to see that he was very affected by it. And I think...
And also really interesting just to see that picture and the back of both of them, a reminder that the Queen was crowned as well as the King yesterday, and that's obviously something that we certainly didn't see in 1953 in the same way.
No, absolutely. I mean, Prince Philip had really a walk-on part. There was no constitutional role for him as a consort, but the last time was 1937, so there's hardly anybody that can remember that, and that was his grandparents, the King George and Queen Elizabeth. And there's a sort of similarity. I mean, you know, if you look at that, the capes and the crowns, obviously, I mean, they're very much a team. And some of the photographs have shown them talking to each other, and you get that feeling that
yeah, from the day.
They're together.
Yes, absolutely. Take us, Afia, into the Sunday Express now, because while this was a formal event, the service, full of tradition, there was also the family element as well. And of course, Prince Harry was one of those tricky issues that the family had to navigate. So how does the Express deal with this, the Sunday Express?
Absolutely. So Harry did attend. There was rumours flying around on Friday that he may not be there, but of course he was there. He entered Westminster Abbey with Beatrice and Eugenie, his cousins, Zara and Mike Phillips as well, Mike Tyndall and Zara Phillips, excuse me, and he walked down the aisle into the church, into Westminster Abbey with them, was seated in the 3rd row, and he looked quite happy, quite relaxed. He was smiling to people as he went past, greeting people. The lip readers have been out in force already, God bless them. Apparently at one point he said about 4:45 to someone, and they've interpreted that as perhaps that was his flight, because after the service finished at Westminster Abbey, he was straight into a car and straight to Heathrow Airport, into the Windsor Suite and off back to LA for his son's birthday. You know, he did join in with saying, God save the King and long live King Charles. Yeah, and he just seemed to have, you know, just sort of sat there, was relaxed, looked quite happy.
Do you think they got it about right? He was there and reasonably supportive, but not playing a prominent role. Did that feel about right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, he's not a working royal, so we would not expect to see him on the balcony, which I think was absolutely right. And you know, he came, he saw, and he went back home again. So I think, you know, there's so much written about him, which I find quite funny, but there wasn't really much to say. And I think people are trying to milk those headlines. I mean, a lot of people talking about Princess Anne's hat and how Princess Anne was sitting right in front of him. It did obscure the
view of him, didn't
Yes,
it?
she was wearing the Blues and Royals uniform, and she had that red plume on her hat. And a lot of people were like, "Ooh, was she placed there deliberately?" No,
yeah,
Princess Anne doesn't have time for that.
Happy to hide behind it. Who knows? But Ian, you wanted to talk particularly about the royal coach, which was spectacular.
It was, yes. And I mean, that's the first time that's been used for a coronation, obviously, since 1953. They obviously don't like it that much. The late Queen called it horrible, and Queen Victoria said it was distressing oscillations, because the trouble is, what happens is it's not sprung. It's this great 4-ton coach that's gilded wood that sits on these enormous leather straps. So what happens is you've got 8 horses pulling you forward, so you've got that feeling of being pulled forward, but also you swing slightly to the side. Ooh. So the sailor king William IV said it was like being at sea, and you know, you can imagine and it's so heavy that it can only go at a walking pace, which was actually quite good, because that gave you slightly more time to see what was happening.
And there are shots of the royal couple leaving the Abbey. They didn't go to the Abbey in it.
No, they went in the more modern Diamond Jubilee coach. I think the slight pain with the Gold State coach, built in 1762, is that you can't see very well through the windows. I mean, it wasn't designed to be seen in that way. And if you look at the footage you're showing, I mean, you can just see Charles at that angle, but as he passes, that bits of the coach are in the way.
Yeah, it's very Disney Princess, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? Definitely.
Take us on now, Afia, to the Sun on Sunday. This is, again, another spread, but looking at the fashions, and there was a lot of focus on the younger royals, wasn't there?
Yeah, so the younger royals did very well yesterday. But what I thought was super cute is you had the Princess of Wales and Princess Charlotte were actually matching in this Alexander McQueen dress. So Princess Charlotte was wearing sort of a pared down version of Kate's Alexander McQueen ivory silk cape gown. This was designed by Sarah Burton, and it was embroidered with rose, shamrock, daffodil and thistle motifs to signify the 4 nations. And they had a silver headpiece, not a tiara, silver headpieces created by milliner Jess Collette in conjunction with Alexander McQueen as well. And Kate was also wearing pearl and diamond earrings that belonged to Diana, Princess of Wales. I thought they looked really, really beautiful, actually, the whole family. And Kate and Charlotte matching is really, really sweet. I think it's great that they had the motifs of all the 4 nations on there as well. But I think they're also looking forward to a time where perhaps these pieces might go into a museum, and they really wanted to give us sort of a vision or a piece of what it looked like at the beginning of the Carolean age.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
and so much symbolism and so much detail from every last bit of embroidery.
Yeah.
It is quite extraordinary.
It was quite funny watching Princess Anne, because she had 2 roles. She was gold stick in waiting, so she had this uniform, but when she got there, she had to be a member of the royal family and put on these robes as well. Yeah. So we didn't see that happening, but it must have happened very quickly as she got off the horse.
Yeah. It was brilliantly stage managed, the whole thing, wasn't it? It all looked very smooth. And Ian, you've picked out a piece also in the Sun on Sunday of this rather poignant moment. I mean, there was so much formality, and yet there was this family moment, if you like, when Prince William kissed his father. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, he had the role of also putting his father's super tunica on, this golden coat that he put on before that, and you could see Charles saying thank you, and it was almost like role reversal, because when you're little, your mum does that to you, but he was doing it back to him, and it was a very touching, emotional moment, I think. And it, I think, shows the closeness of the father and son. And my prediction is that it's going to be a kind of a joint monarchy, that William will be involved in everything. And you actually saw it with the procession, because at the late Queen's coronation and previous ones, the King and Queen come in on their own, but they actually came in with, the King and Queen came in with the Waleses, didn't they, in the procession? Yeah. So it's very much part of, unified, I think.
There's going to be a teamwork all round, I guess. Well, Ian and Afia, it's really lovely to have your company this morning, the morning after the night before, here at Buckingham Palace, reflecting on the day yesterday. Thanks so much.